A notebook falls from the sky. On the cover, the instructions are simple, direct, and absolute. The human whose name is written in this note shall die. Light Yagami is a 17-year-old student who has spent his life being the smartest person in any room. He is bored, he is brilliant, and he has been waiting for something worthy of his intelligence. He picks up the notebook, writes a name, and realizes he now possesses the power to reshape reality. He doesn't use it for personal gain. Instead, he begins a methodical, global execution of convicted criminals. To Light, the world is broken because the people in charge are too weak to do what is necessary. He decides he will be the one to fix it, becoming a god for a new world. This chart tracks the immediate global reaction to his work. As the names are written, the crime rate plummets. It is an undeniable statistical success. People start to worship this anonymous force, giving him a title, Kira. But Kira is challenged by a detective known only as L. In a single broadcast, L uses a death row inmate as bait to prove three things. Kira is real, he is in Japan, and he cannot kill without a name and a face. L has turned a global god into a local suspect. At first, the story frames Light as a necessary hero. His logic is consistent, his results are measurable, and L appears as nothing more than a hindrance to a safer world. We are invited to agree with Light's certainty that the ends justify his means. L is Light's polar opposite, socially awkward, barefoot, and fueled entirely by sugar. But he is driven by a specific philosophy, that justice must be an accountable process. He refuses to allow one anonymous person to decide who lives and dies, no matter their intentions. Their conflict becomes a nested game. Every conversation is a test where they anticipate not just the next move, but the opponent's anticipation of that move. It is a war of layers, where a single slip in performance means death. To study his suspect, L recruits Light into the very task force hunting Kira. They sit side by side, analyzing the killings. Light is forced to investigate himself, while L watches every twitch of Light's expression for a sign of guilt. As the pressure mounts, Light makes a move that L could never predict. This timeline shows him relinquishing the notebook. Every memory of his crimes is instantly erased from his mind, creating a perfect alibi. He helps L with sincerity until he reclaims the notebook and remembers everything. The loop closes. We see this calculation in his treatment of Misa Amane. Misa is a devoted follower who offers him her life, her eyes, and her own notebook. Light doesn't feel love for her. He assesses her utility. He performs the role of a boyfriend because it is the most efficient way to keep her abilities under his control. This tactical success reveals the cost of Light's ambition. To win, he has had to view everyone, even those who love him, as instruments to be used and discarded. The brilliant student is gone, replaced by a strategist who has lost the capacity to see other people as human. Light engineers a trap that leaves the Shinigami Rem with no choice. To save Misa from L's investigation, Rem must write L's name in her own notebook. It is a move that costs Rem her life, as a Shinigami cannot kill to extend the life of a human they love. L dies in Light's arms. In his final seconds, he looks into Light's eyes and sees a smirk. He dies knowing he was right, but without the time or the evidence to tell the world. With L gone, Light assumes total control of the investigation. He spends the next 5 years ruling the world from the shadows, his authority unchallenged and his identity hidden behind the mask of his enemy. But this victory is hollow. Without L to test him, Light isn't a god engaged in a worthy conflict. He is just a man in a room, writing names. The game that defined him is over, and all that remains is the cold administration of death. After years of Kira's rule, society has become a reflection of Light's mind, orderly, quiet, and paralyzed by fear. He now uses followers like Teru Mikami, a prosecutor who views Light's judgment as divine law, to maintain this sterile peace. But L left a legacy. His successors, Nier and Mello, emerged to finish what L started. They recognize that Light's ego has made him predictable. They lure him into a final confrontation at a warehouse, having secretly replaced Mikami's real notebook with a fake. When Mikami writes the names and no one dies, Light's composure finally shatters. The composed, genius facade is replaced by a desperate, screaming man, trying to explain why his murders were a service to humanity. He is shot, he is exposed, and he dies alone in a stairwell. He isn't taken by justice or by his enemies. Ryuk, the Shinigami who started it all, simply gets bored and writes Light's name in his own book to end the story. Looking back, the series makes a quiet argument. L was the true protagonist. He was the one moving the story toward a fair outcome, defending the idea that no person should have unchecked power. He died for that process. Death Note is a tragedy about the cost of being right. It proves that intelligence without humility doesn't create a better world. It only creates a more efficient catastrophe.